folks. Good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. And so this public hearing is called to order on Monday, November 4th, 2024 at 6:32 p.m. at the East Midwood Jewish Center. The purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony with respect to an application for a sidewalk cafe under the Department of Transportation's Open Dining Program. So the Community Board 14 office received notification on October 7th, and the Department of Transportation allows 40 days should the board wish to express an opinion to the department. So the applicant is Mustang Brothers Incorporated, doing business as Namaste Brooklyn, located at 1202 Cortelli Road. The applicant is represented here today by the owner, Sonam Sering. Hello. And so if members of the public wish to testify on the issue, you must register by signing up at the back table with either Sarah or Patricia. And please state clearly for the record your name, whether you are a Community District 14 resident or the organization you represent. So the first speaker will be the owner, Sonam Sering of Namaste Brooklyn. So please come up and you could use the podium right there. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Sonam Sering. I'm the owner of Namaste Brooklyn. It's on Cortelli Road, 1202 Cortelli Road, Brooklyn, New York, 11218. We opened this restaurant about 2 years ago. It's a Himalayan cuisine, and we have a good location on the corner property, which is in between Westchester and Cortelli, right on the corner. Westminster and Cortelli Road. Sorry for that. I'm a little bit nervous. So we had applied for site cafe for our restaurant according to the Department of Transportation new rules that we had to follow. And I'm here for the hearing, and I have no idea what it's going to be like, but definitely we have submitted our application according to the criteria that we have to follow according to the sidewalk, like the space round from the corner of the street, and also making sure the lights, the traffic doesn't get affected. Mostly it's about 8 tables sidewalk, which is about 16 seating. We have a little bit of width around, I would say, in the front side of the facing of the cafe. It's going to be roughly around 11 feet. And from the restaurant to the sidewalk, it's about 10 feet in the front. And on the side, which is on the Westminster Street, it's going to be around 25 feet on the width length. And from the restaurant to the street, it's going to be about 6 feet. So altogether, we'll have 8 tables, which will sit about 16 guests. Is there anything you need to know?
So thank you very much for that presentation and summary, Mr. Sering. You're doing very well.
Thank you. I don't know what we're looking exactly,
Sure.
but I'm here for the hearing, and I don't know if that's something that I had to mention it, because I'm a new owner. It's been about 2 years. Like I said, I've been living in the neighborhood for almost 19 years. Before it was like a Mexican restaurant, but once the place shut down during COVID, we thought about doing something special because it's a very diverse community. And also there's another restaurant which is Cafe Tibet, very similar cuisine. And we saw the love and affection from all the neighborhoods because it's one of our friend, colleague, and they needed a bigger space. So we thought about why not open another Himalayan cuisine, which is basically from Nepal, Tibet, but again, with a little bit of modern twist so that everybody enjoys the food and it brings out a different dimension, different cuisine in the neighborhood for our fellow friends, families to enjoy, so they don't have to travel all the way to Jacksonite, where is a big community of Nepal, Indian, Bangladesh, all those South Asian food. And also we have some restaurants in Manhattan, so we're trying to bring something in the neighborhood so you don't have to travel away.
Awesome, thank you. And so yes, everything you said is helpful because on one part, you're giving us the history and the thinking behind why you and your colleagues came up with the restaurant. And then the second thing too is for the purposes of that application that you submitted to the Department of Transportation, you gave the people here like a summary of some of the key pieces of information that are required. So you're nervous, but you're doing well so far.
Thank you, thank you.
No problem. Thank
Sorry,
you.
if you have any question, you can ask. I'll try to clarify as much as I can.
Definitely. And so the first question I have is, by chance, do we have any pre-registered speakers?
No, we don't.
Okay, great. So then the next thing is then we will hear from board members. So do board members, okay, so, yes?
Hi, how are you? I actually know the corner because I drive by it every single morning. So
Hi.
I know that there's exterior seating that's out there right now.
Yes, sir.
Are you talking about extending further into the sidewalk than what you currently have, or taking what you currently have and making it a nice finished exterior seating area?
Thank you for that question. That's exactly what we submitted because we know we don't have too much room to be extending all the way on the sidewalk, especially on the Westminster side, because it's a little tight, and that's why we put only 6 feet from the restaurant to the side cafe. But as you see on the Catelli side, it's a wider, bigger street. Again, we followed all the rules and regulations, and we have a setup. As you know, like you said, you can see it. So that's the current application according to how you see. That's how we have planned to move forward with, and that's our application for the outside cafe. There won't be any more extension or anything like that.
May I ask a follow-up to that?
Yes, you may.
So just to be clear, on the Westminster side, there's what, from the building to the street, is what looks like 3 standard sidewalk concrete blocks. If they're, the way the concrete is cut up on the sidewalks, you have 1, 2, and 3 that are about 6 feet wide each. You're blocking one of them, and then the standard regular walkway that goes straight down the block, you're not cutting into that at all.
No, we're not cutting anything like
So
that.
it's not blocking or impeding any of the direct straight sidewalk that walks down Westminster. For the purpose of the rest of the board, it actually goes, the standard middle of the block sidewalk goes straight down the block. The building that they have is set back to the buildings that are further down Westminster, so there's an extra room over there.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
All right, so I will take Nina, and then I'll take Kendall.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for this presentation.
Thank you.
I know that, it sounds like you're following, very carefully the dimensions that are allowable. Have you looked or considered whether there's enough room for wheelchairs to get by?
Definitely, we do consider, like I said, whatever that guideline we had received from Department of Transportation before our application, we try to follow all the rules and regulations, and that's one of the things that we kept in mind. So if you ever pass by, we have, for the front side on Catelli Road, we have a big entrance for enough for the wheelchair. And on the Westminster side, we also have a similar space, so we don't have like an enclosed area. It's an open space, so wheelchair is easily accessible.
Thank you. And then Kendall?
No, thank you so much for the presentation. I was actually confused on the location, which block it was, because I didn't know how far it was from the fire department. Yeah, go ahead.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's right on corner of Westminster and Catelli Road. So I would say fire department, it's going to be 2 buildings on your left to Westminster. because fire department is on two buildings on the right.
All right, so I have Board Member Cohen and then Hatem.
Have you gotten any negative reactions or pushback from anyone in the community, neighbors, other businesses, anyone?
Absolutely no. Actually, we have all our guests and also all our neighbors. They're amazed the way we transformed the place according to the new rules and regulation of Department of Transportation. So that's a no.
I want to jump in on that answer, that there's also no 311s or reports to the precinct. We looked into that too.
And then Hatem.
Thank you for being here today. Do you mind if I ask you how many people working for that restaurant at the moment, and if any of them are locally hired or somebody from the community where you serve?
Thank you for asking. Again, like I said, that's the reason why I was giving you a little bit of story or the history about the restaurant, how we opened, why I was living in that neighborhood, why we opened the restaurant. So most of our employees are actually local. They live like 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes away. So yes, definitely there are employees who are from the local area.
Thank you very much. And so do we have any other questions from board members?
I just want to add for the record that board members would have received, for those who don't have the map of the community in their brain like Morty does, you did get the printout of the application with the schematic and the photographs as well. So if you want to review that, look back at it, it's there for you. But I'm sure you all previewed it. I just wanted to state that for the record that it was shared.
Okay, thank you. And so seeing that we have no additional questions from board members, and actually, wait, do I have, and we didn't have any pre-registered speakers. Does anyone from the board wish to make a motion to express an opinion? Sorry about that. Who has a hand? Okay, yes, sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, sorry I didn't pre-register. I'm not a board member. I'm here for an elected official, but I happen to be a neighbor of this restaurant in between the building at the restaurant and the firehouse at 1206 Cortelliu. And just as a neighbor, I can say that they've been good neighbors, and I think a sidewalk cafe would be appropriate here.
Thank you very much for sharing. Awesome. And so, Hatem, yes?
I move to approve the extension request.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Thank you so much.
Excellent. So, any opposed? Any abstentions? Any ineligible? Okay, so that recommendation carries, and so that will be shared with the board in the board meeting for the actual vote. So thank you very much, Mr. Sari.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Sorry for the little nervousness.
No, you don't need to apologize.
It's new to us too.
It's my first rodeo having a...
You're alive, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, Sonu, just a heads up for you process-wise, and so we had the public hearing, so we just made our recommendation, and so you can choose to stay or you can leave. Procedurally, what's going to happen next is when we have our board meeting, I'll put that recommendation before the board, we'll vote on it, and then we will pass our recommendation to the Department of Transportation. And then they will be the ones to ultimately decide. But that's what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Okay. Yeah, of course, definitely. You survived the rodeo, so come in and watch. Exactly.
You
So,
serve mulligani soup?
What's that?
Mulligani soup.
Thank you.
all right, so that concludes that public hearing at 6:46 p.m. So because we're rock stars, we're going right into the next one. And so this is like those 2-for-1 movie deals, right? And so we are now going into the public hearing being called to order at 6:46 p.m. today, November 4th, at the East Midwood Jewish Center. And the purpose of this public hearing is to hear public testimony with respect to CB14's recommendations for the city's fiscal year 2026 capital and expense budget. And so If there is someone from the public who would like to comment, then please register with Sarah or Patricia in the back. And so we will first hear from District Manager Sean Campbell.
Thank you. I don't have a whole lot to say. This was covered at the Budget Committee meeting. I really appreciate those of you who took the time out to be there and lend opinions and ideas and thoughts to the order of the budget and the items in the budget. This is the culmination of surveying the whole community over the summer, bringing those requests to a public hearing in September, engaging with the city agencies through budget consultations, and then kind of updating what we had requested last year, since we received very little positive response and support from those budgets. Most of them carried forward. But we did do some reordering. The order of the budget priorities, instead of like pitting human service programs against parks or transportation needs, we simply put the budget priorities in order that they appear in the narrative of the district needs statement. And then within the agencies, there's some prioritization. So these would have been sent to you prior to this meeting. There are capital requests, the number is 20. Expense requests, the number is more than that, 36. And I think we did a good job of reflecting the needs of the community, both through input and district and service delivery requests. And we want all of this and more. So this is to be submitted. We're past the deadline, but DCP knows that the order, that they wanted this up October 31st, and our ability to do the budget committee following the budget consultations, then having the public hearing and all, was going to delay it into this week. So they're prepared and will accept it late. I don't know if anybody had, I'm sure you all reviewed this, but the meeting itself, if there's any questions or concerns or really strong feelings about where it appears in the order, this would be your moment to say so.
So that being said, so thank you very much for that summary, District Manager. And so do we have any questions or comments from board members regarding the proposed recommendations to the city's capital expense budget for this fiscal year, for the fiscal year 2026? My apologies. Okay, so seeing no questions, do I have a recommendation from a board member?
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. So, any ineligible? Any abstentions? Any opposed? Okay, so that recommendation carries. Yes.
Just because we did that so quickly. This will be submitted to Department of City Planning toward the end of this week. They will then send each recommendation that's pertinent to each department to that department. We will then get responses to this, and we look forward to those sometime around February. And then we will decide as a board how we want to respond to those responses. We might want to pick them apart and go agency by agency, which is our norm, or last year we just wrote to DCP and OMB, Department of City Planning and Office of Management and Budget, because the responses were fairly meaningless, so we kind of objected to the process and the feedback that we got from agencies. Maybe they'll do a better job this year, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And Barden crossed his fingers, so it's looking good for us. Thanks, everybody.
One can hope.
Thank you, folks. And so that concludes this second public hearing at 6:51 p.m. And so we have 9 minutes until we start our general board meeting at 7. So thank you, folks, very much.
Introduce yourself to somebody you haven't seen before.
So I was trying something new over there. Hey, what's up, Nancy? Welcome back. All right, so folks, somebody has a really nice ringtone, so I hear you. Keep it going. So folks, this meeting of Brooklyn Community Board 14 is called to order on Monday, November 4th at 7 p.m. under the applicable statutes of New York State, the Charter of New York City, the board's bylaws, and Robert's Rules of Order.
I cannot hear you. I don't know.
Oh, you can't hear me at all?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay, let's redo that.
I'm having a hard time. You speak for I. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
All right. Can other folks not hear me, or let's see? Let's see. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I felt like the Verizon man for a bit. Stand by.
Yeah, in the meantime, I'll do this monologue, right? I can project, so we'll do this the other way. So yes, so the board's policy is to encourage detailed public discussion of matters before the board at our committee meetings and at public hearings. So
Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. I feel like Fat Joe at Game 4 of the Yankees, so here we go. So let me restart that. So the board's policy is to encourage detailed public discussion of matters before the board at our committee meetings and at public hearings. Consequently, except by board members, there will be no public discussion at our regularly monthly meetings of matters about which a public hearing or committee meeting has been held. A specific service delivery request or complaint should be brought to the attention of the district office staff by calling the board office during regular business hours or by visiting our website anytime. Other matters of civic interest may be brought before the board during our scheduled public comment period, which will begin tonight after all other business on the board's monthly meeting agenda has been concluded. So please, no partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises will be heard. Persons wishing to speak during the public comment period were asked to pre-register. And so first up, we have the call to order. So Secretary, could you please call the roll?
Good evening, everyone. Wahil Ahmed. Here. Carissa Alfonso. Here. Gregory Alvarez.
Present.
Hindi Bendel. Benjamin Bendet.
Here.
Davina Bolanot. Christopher Bromson.
present.
Edward Sen. Carl Henry Cesar.
Present.
Florencia Chanagita, present. Yvette Claire Jean.
Here.
Stephen D. Cohen.
Here.
Elizabeth Dennis.
Present.
Derek Donald. Sabina Dorville. Joseph Dweck.
Here.
Hatem El Gamasi.
Present.
Gerald Gray.
Present.
Suzanne Hargett. Lee Harmon. Musa Hassoun. William Hattar. Mordecai Husarski.
Present.
Nautica Johnson.
Present.
Erica Phillips Jones.
Here.
Shahid Khan. Alex Lesman.
Here.
Naomi Lipnick. Donald Loggins.
Present.
Sasha Masluski.
Here.
Melissa Minnick.
Here.
Ephraim Nierenberg.
Present.
Eric Ost. Ornella Parker.
Here.
Nora Pena.
Here.
Suzanne Phillip. Zvi Plotsker,
Yeah.
Barden Prasant,
Here.
Bazaruhi, Nina Sapir,
Here.
Joel Siegel, Gail L. Smith, Tova Svenberg,
Here.
Abraham Treff,
Present.
Deborah Valentin, Dawn Marie Walker,
Here.
Kendall Washington. Good God.
We have quorum, Secretary?
Yes, we
Thank you
do.
very much for confirming. So next up, we have minutes. And so did we receive any proposed changes to the minutes via email?
We did not.
Okay. And are there any proposed changes to the minutes from the floor? So hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of October 2024 General Board meeting?
So moved. Second.
Any opposed? Any ineligible? Any abstentions? Abstention? Okay, thank you so much. Okay. So the motion to adopt the October 2024 General Board meeting minutes carries. So thank you, folks. So next up, we have the District Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Fewer meetings to report on because it was we're meeting early in the month and it was a month of holidays. Hope all holidays were good to you all. I do want to make some public service announcements because we're in our 4th or 5th leaf season of the year. And I want building owners, homeowners to remember that you're responsible for the curb and 18 inches into the street. I've got a lot of brooms going down because they're getting clogged with the leaves. So please keep those areas clear. If a broom circumnavigates the property, it could be because there's leaves that they don't want pulling up into that machine. It also means they have to stop in the middle of the tour to dump the leaves into a garbage truck, which means that garbage truck isn't doing what it was assigned to do. Oftentimes that's MLP and we get so very precious little of that manual litter patrol. We want to keep that truck there. Also, the requirement that you have a garbage can with a secure lid begins on November 12th. We had a presentation about it that was reported on our last month's meeting, but I just want to remind you that it's going into effect on November 12th. It has to be 55 gallons or less, secure lid. It can now go out at 6 o'clock since it's a container. And there will be a grace period where people will get warnings instead of violations. But if you get a warning, heed that warning because you'll be top of the list for enforcement when enforcement begins on January 2nd is when real enforcement begins. I have some enforcement concerns about early putouts where tickets were being written 10 minutes before the time, and we have brought that to the attention of the agency. We do want people to follow the rules, but if it seems aggressive, and we want them to be mindful and sensitive to community needs as well. And it looks like there's a couple of questions, Mr. Chair, if I can take a couple of questions. Go ahead, Nina and Barden both had a question.
Yes, so my question was pursuant to the put-out time for those of us in largely Orthodox Jewish neighborhood where we're not putting out the trash after 6 o'clock, and the Sabbath is now starting at about 4. And our pickup is on Saturday. It's problematic.
Yeah, if you get a ticket and that's the case, just bring it to our attention as quickly as possible. We have been in touch with the Commissioner's Office about cultural sensitivity, and that is exactly what has been happening in some pockets of the community. So keep posted on that. Hopefully that straightens itself out. Barden?
Yeah, I probably just missed this at some point along the way. But this also applies to recycling or just trash?
Just trash.
Oh.
So recycling can go out
In
still?
a bag.
In bags. And can that go out at 6 as well? Or since it's a bag, does it have to go out at 8?
Yeah, it can go out at 6 as well.
That doesn't
Because it's
sound
not
as
food
perfect.
stuff, you know,
It's what?
if
Yeah, okay.
it's not food stuff, I think is the rationale insofar as.
No, that's great. I just
Okay.
want to be sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Steve?
I thought they had said that you could put out cardboard. I'm trying to remember. I thought they said you could put out cardboard at like 5 or 6, but I don't know if the same applied for like plastic because they were worried about food stuff on plastics. But don't quote me. That's just my recollection.
Okay, I went back to the meeting today. If there is clarifying information, if something has been misstated, I will advise you all.
What about compost?
Compost remains the same,
Because that has food stuff.
but it's in a locked container, so it should be rat-proof, rodent-proof. The other thing is, I attended a briefing today that was held by the Department of Environmental Protection, and we're in a drought warning. And so it's a heads up to everybody. Let's not get to a drought emergency. This is all weather dependent, and they're right now just asking that everybody be mindful. You know, turn off the water while you're brushing. Don't use your water-based appliances unless the dishwasher is fully full. You know, brief showers, that sort of thing. And they're reaching out to businesses too, to assist businesses with some water conservation. So just be very, very mindful so that next month we aren't talking about this in more dire terms. There is on our website and at the back of the room some water conservation tips. I mean, you all know what to do, but just in case you want to post it in buildings or hand it out and that sort of thing. We'll keep you posted. Check our website. We always put new notices up on that. And we'll do an update next month. Hopefully it will be better news. And we have to hope for rain. It doesn't have to rain here even. We can have our nice days here in the city. It just has to rain upstate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And so before I continue with the chair's report, I'd just like to recognize Britt Bird here representing Borough President Reynoso's office, so thank you, Britt. And then also Nancy Lulu representing the Brooklyn DA's office, so thank you very much for coming. And so, folks, now begins the chair's report. And so first thing I want to say is good evening. The second thing is, if you haven't already, vote. So voting matters for 3 reasons. Number 1, real talk, too many people have fought, are fighting, and will fight to ensure that each person has the right to make their voice heard. So out of respect for the past, present, and future, use your voice. The second reason is that voting is a key part of the engagement process. The third reason is that engagement can be inspiring. And so for those of you who voted, I thank you, and I ask you to stay engaged and inspired. And for those of you who haven't voted yet, I ask that you do vote and you become even more engaged and inspired. So the second thing I want to bring up too is that today marks the end of Diwali. So for those who celebrated it, I hope that you had a joyous and festive celebration in doing so. And for those who celebrated All Saints' Day, I hope it was a holy day for you. For those who celebrated the birth of Baha'u'llah, I also hope it was holy and it renewed your faith and vigor. For those who will celebrate the Day of the Covenant, I hope it is a joyous one. And for those who will celebrate the ascension of Abdul Baha, I hope it is a reflective and a prosperous day. And for those who will celebrate St. Andrew's Feast Day, I hope it is a holy day for you as well. And I want to call to people's attention as well that November is Native American Heritage Month. So I take this time to thank this community for its contributions to our society, and I hope that folks who hold this community dear to them have a vibrant month of celebration and recognize that much work remains to be done in support of this community. So the next thing too is I would be remiss not to thank 2 board members who no longer serve with us. So these board members are Glenn Wolin and Joanne Brown. And so combined, these 2 individuals served on CB14 for over 2 decades. And they contributed in so many different ways. And so Glenn helped frequently with the youth conference in addition to being a sounding board on so many different aspects of life within CB14. And then as for Joanne, she contributed in a million ways as well, you know, from chairing the Human Services Committee, founding the ad hoc Census Complete Count Committee, serving as chairperson for 3 terms, and then also founding and co-chairing the Ad Hoc Transition Committee. And so I would, what happened? And Housing and Land Use as well. Yes, see, I keep forgetting all the things that people have done. And so please join me in a round of applause for our former board members. Okay, so next up, this is a recap of the recommendation we had on the open dining application. So earlier this evening, right here at East Midwood Jewish Center, we had a public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing was to receive public comment in relation to an open dining application by the Mustang Brothers Incorporated, DBA Namaste Brooklyn at 1202 Cortellia Road. There were no pre-registered speakers, and board members had questions about which the owner did answer them. So in the end, a recommendation was made to approve the application, and the recommendation passed. And so is there any additional discussion from board members on that matter tonight? Yes.
Of course. So this is a regular sidewalk cafe application, right? This is not a legacy COVID street furniture in the middle of the street thing.
No.
But we haven't heard all these many applications previously. Did something change that we're now going to hear more of them?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm good.
Is that it?
No.
The restaurant, sidewalk cafes, and the street cafes were part of an emergency declaration that came out of COVID times. Then it took DOT a certain number of months to figure out the mechanism by which they were going to become permanent. By permanent, I don't mean that now that we've approved this, it will have to renew. But they were looking for a permanent program that would be something more than the emergency, you can just do it, and something less than what had been the revocable consent process for sidewalk cafes of the past, because that was sort of, those were higher barriers. So the Open Streets for Sidewalks is the program that's now available to business owners. They have to apply. There's a public hearing, optional for sidewalks. DOT holds them. They're mandatory for the street installations. This board, back in the spring at an executive committee meeting, or was it this September? Oh, I'm so sorry. Those are times that are kind of far apart. This September, the board decided there was a question about whether or not we would just do these administratively, like SLAs, or if we would hear them. And I think we're going to hear them. They're sort of like OCM. It's a new program. It's a new thing. We're not getting many community complaints, but just in case, we're going to hear them for the time being. If they end up being very sort of pro forma and they're all very benign, we can go back to doing them administratively. But that's what changed.
But this one was optional, you're saying? They did not have to come to us? 'Cause you said
Well, it was
sidewalk.
optional for us to hold one. If we didn't hold one, DOT could
Okay.
then just approve or hold their own.
Understood, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you for that. Any other questions? Okay, so hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the recommendation from the public hearing?
Second.
Okay, so any abstentions? Any ineligible? Any opposals? All right, so the motion carries. And also, I'd like to recognize Abraham Malachowski from Councilmember Farrah-Lewis's office. So thank you for coming, Abraham. So the second public hearing that we had, same place, East Midwood Jewish Center. It was to hear public comment in relation to Committee Board 14's recommendations to the New York City capital and expense budgets for fiscal year 2026. So there were no pre-registered speakers, and District Manager Campbell summarized the work that was done to come up with the proposals in their specific order and the details in them, and also the remaining steps in the process. So in the end, a recommendation was made to approve the budget recommendations, and that recommendation passed. And so are there any additional questions or comments from board members here? Okay, so seeing none and hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the recommendation that came from the public hearing with regards to these budget recommendations?
So moved.
Thank you. So any abstentions? Anyone ineligible? Any opposals? Okay, so that motion also carries. Great. So this is going to be the world's shortest Brooklyn Borough Board report. I don't have one. because the Brooklyn Borough Board meeting will take place this Thursday, November 7th. So in the December board meeting, I'll have a recap for November and December, but I don't have one. So that ends the chair's report. And so now we go to topical committees. So first up, we have Youth Services, Education, Libraries, followed by Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development.
All right. Hi, everyone. Arnella Parker here. You guys can hear me, right? All right. Arnella Parker here. Unfortunately, my co is out. He's won't be with us today, but I'm going to give the report on behalf of Eric and myself. So we haven't had a youth libraries and education committee meeting. It's a long title, y'all. For this past month, we are going to plan one for the future, and the next meeting is going to be focused specifically on getting ready for the youth conference. So, woo! Youth Conference 2020. You guys weren't excited enough. Come on now. Yeah, so we'll start preparing for that. As you can see, this year's wrapping up, and before we blink, it will be 2025. So the next meeting will be focused on getting prepared for that. And then the only other announcement is that, as Carl noted, tomorrow is Election Day. Public schools will be closed, and please make sure you guys go out and actually use your rights and vote. And then libraries, on the other hand, are open though. So if you need something to do with your youth, head to the library, they are open. What's the next committee? You're good. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. You're going to come up again later. You're good, you're good.
I'm trying to arrange that.
Right.
We got you. You're getting the steps in. That's what. And so next up, we have Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, followed by Human Services Committee. Okay.
I can announce stay tuned for next one's.
All right, so then we will move on to the Human Services Committee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yvette Clear-Jean.
I'm Nina Sadgir, and welcome. It's nice to see everyone.
So we have our first meeting in 2 weeks on Tuesday, November 19th at 6:30 p.m. via WebEx. We will have 3 presentations. The first will be on the status of SUNY Downstate Medical Center and plans for the future, particularly establishing a community advisory board by Debbie Lewis of the Governor's Office. Then we'll also have a presentation on the current programs and services offered by SUNY Downstate by Alicia Goodridge. And the third one will be a presentation on South Brooklyn Connected Community, which is a coalition dedicated to creating a safe and drug-free community in South Brooklyn. And that presentation will be by Isabel Florescia. Hopefully I pronounced that name correctly.
So she's not here tonight, but Baza Ruhi, who is a board member.
She is actually.
Oh, here. Did you come in? Oh, okay. I think you were. Maybe I didn't hear you call. Anyway, my apologies. Welcome. So it was my pleasure on Sunday, October 27th, to take a look at Baza Ruhi's activities on behalf of the American Council of Minority Women. They had, I expected some little thing. I don't know what I expected actually, but it was an entire, really most of the block on Coney Island from Foster all the way down, it transects Glenwood and continues to Avenue H. There were tables upon tables set up with information for people in the community. There were various insurance companies helping people to get enrolled in health care. They were giving out winter coats. They were giving out food. They had blankets. They had, I guess, other things. And it just looked like people were having a really good time and getting a lot of needed services, so it was really wonderful to see. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you folks very much. And so before I bring up the next committee's chair, folks, I'd just like to say thank you for being here, Officer Michael Joseph of the 70th Precinct. All right, so next up we have community safety, followed by transportation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Florencia Changa. You know that already. Anyway. My co-chair, Hindi, could not make it today. However, we had a meeting on the 29th. Right? Yeah, 28th? 29th?
About right.
We had it one day. Okay. All right. Just give me a minute. In the back, just before I give the brief report, please get one of Ready New York, and also contact the board office because they do come in other languages as well. Thank you. And so we had our CO, Deputy Inspector Mackey, was unable to make it. However, Captain Smallwood gave a report. And so he spoke, well, there was one murder as a result of a dispute, 3 rapes in which all the victims knew their rapists in each occurrence, robberies down, and mopeds being stolen. And basically, they want each and everyone to know, please lock your vehicles and take your keys with you. He shared the role of the vice, transit, narcotics, and housing, the roles that all these offices play. However, housing doesn't really affect our neighborhoods so much. FYI, there was a shooting at 9:61 p.m. on November 1st in our Region 1, and we'll be doing a response, a community response on Wednesday. We also had the Office of Emergency Management, OEM, Mr. Dustin Radner, Special Project Manager, he presented. And you can go to the website, you can get the book, you'll find the website in there, and you can also go to CB14's. Please utilize CB14's website. And we also have our YouTube channel. Anything you miss, go there. Lots of information. Noteworthy, I just want to mention this before I sit down. Sean did ask about patients who have life support equipment in case of an emergency, which is important. If you know of anyone, they need to register with Con Edison. And you can find that information also on CB14's website. Call Sean, call anyone who works in the office. They'll give you that. And on the 19th as well, there's a flyer in the back. There will be a winter ready preparedness webinar for older folks. It's at 1 p.m., so it will not conflict with the other events. And then there is an award. Please check the flyers in the back. And thank you, and please, please, please check out our website and our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valencia. So next up, we have transportation, followed by housing and land use.
Hey, everyone. Hello. All right, so our next Transportation Committee meeting is this Wednesday, November 6th at 6:30. The election is happening the night before, so depending on who you're voting for, it may be a good day or a bad day. If you want a distraction, then come to the Transportation Committee the next day to help you think about other things. We're going to be having 2 speakers. One is the DOT, the New York City DOT is going to come and give us an update on the bike lane project in the district. And the second is the MTA is going to give us a status update on the capital plan and the 5-year capital plan. Thank you.
Next up, we have Housing and Land Use, followed by the Transition Committee.
Good evening, everybody. Greg Alvarez, co-chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. And with our loss of Joanne Brown, we have gained Melissa Minnick as one of our new co-chairs. And, you know, we're going to put her to work right away because on Tuesday, November 12th, we're going to have our first meeting of this year, and it's packed with 3 presentations. The first one is going to be from the Office of Rent Administration, New York State Department of Homes and Community Renewal. They're going to talk about their programs and new updates in recent rent registration rules. We're also going to have a program from NHS Brooklyn, who they're going to talk about their programs as well, so we look forward to that. And then finally, we will have updates on good cause eviction rules from the Housing and Family Services of Greater New York. So we invite everyone. It will be on WebEx, and again, 6:30, November 12th. And we look forward to having you there. Thank you.
So next up, we have a Transition Committee.
All right, everyone. Ornella's back. I started you guys up. I'm wrapping y'all up. So we had a joint meeting with the Budget Committee on October 15th. And in our portion of the meeting, we spent some time looking at the data from the demographic survey that you guys all should have taken as board members. And then we compared it specifically around race to like 10 years ago, 2021. And we looked at, are we actually representative of the community that we serve? You guys get a lot of more detail by like watching back the WebEx video that we have, but overall, when we looked at different demographic markers, as a board right now, we aren't representing the community that we serve fully. And some of the markers, like if there's like a 10% variance in any of the different demographics, that we aren't actually matching the community that we represent. This is important because part of the purpose when we think through the Brooklyn Borough President's Office, when he does his charter for community boards, is that, I'm going to read this specifically, that appointments fairly represent all segments of the community, and based on our data right now, that's not accurate for our community board. So we are working on drafting and sharing this information with the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. We're also trying to think through like some solutions that we can share around how to improve that and how to improve specifically for our communities, but overall for all boards. So if you guys have any ideas, please come find me, come find Carl or Sean to share that information, because we do want to wrap up this information and get it out to them. And that's all. We don't have a meeting scheduled in the moment, so look out for further details. Thank you, guys.
So thank you very much for that. So that concludes the topical committee's report. And before we go to the public session, as usual, I want to give some flowers to Wayne Rosenfeld and the East Midwood Jewish Center for hosting us. And also to Mark Moss for live streaming. So we couldn't do this without either of them. So thank you very much. And so this brings us to our public comment period. And so this brings us to our public comment period. And so board members are expected to remain for the public comment period. And so speakers can sign up for time with Patricia or Sarah in the back of the room up until the beginning of the public comment period. Matters of civic interest and announcements of public events are invited. I'd just like to remind folks, no partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises are allowed. So each speaker will be permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not receive additional time from another speaker. And speakers are directed to address the assembly from the front of the room. At the conclusion of the 3-minute period, each speaker must return to their seat. So the board has an obligation to conduct its business in an orderly manner. Any person preventing the meeting from continuing may be asked to leave. So accordingly, speaking time will be assigned first to speakers from different groups, then to speakers addressing different issues, and finally, time permitting, to additional speakers on an issue from a single group. So it is 7:34 p.m. Our first pre-registered speaker will be Andrew Hidalgo from the South Brooklyn Connected Community. So Andrew, hey, great.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yes.
My name is Andrew Hidalgo. I'm from the South Brooklyn Connected Community. We are a coalition of different providers through treatment, prevention, educators, as well as parents and families that are working to support a drug-free South Brooklyn. Our purpose here is to really spread awareness, education, as well as different environmental strategies to ensure that the public in South Brooklyn is educated on the different substances and the policies surrounding them. We also want to work with youth and parents in community needs assessment to really understand what the problem is, where the issues lie, and what the perception around substance use is among parents and youth, and see if they align. We offered various different services from all of the organizations that are a part of our coalition, including parental education events. We also do parenting classes, as well as different youth services. And one of the big things that we're really trying to put together right now is our community assessment piece. So we are working to host focus groups with parents as well as with youth, as well as some quantitative surveys to really get a sense of what drugs are being used, how much are they being used, where are they being used, what parents know about it, what different community members know about it, and that will really help us and all the organizations that are a part of our coalition really understand how to address the issues at hand. We have different youth treatment centers. We also have a lot of different prevention centers that work in the community a lot, and so that information would be extremely helpful. And lastly, we also are aiming to work with various retailers, especially alcohol and any licensed cannabis retailers, as well as local retailers like corner stores, to really ensure that they are following the laws and the guidelines related to the retail of alcohol and cannabis. That's a big piece, and we want to get the youth involved in that as well. And so that is all I have for today. I also have some flyers, so if anyone is interested in learning more or attending our monthly meetings as well, you can receive a flyer in the back. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Andrew. And so next up, we have Lily Keener from the Brooklyn Public Library Kensington branch.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am from the Kensington branch on 18th Avenue, and I'm here to talk to you about some of the events we have going on at the library. First of all, the library is currently accepting applications from high school students to join our Teen Takeover Branch Council. So this is a group of teens that's going to plan, organize, and host programs at the library. So these are for teens, by teens. It's a really great program. We just had our first takeover at the Pacific Library on October 30th. So if you have a teen in your life you think would benefit from this, please spread the word. Select branches, including Kensington, are also hosting the Bring Babies programs in the coming months. Parents and caregivers have the opportunity to learn about community resources, hear from expert guest speakers about childcare and parenting, and do fun activities that promote language development, social emotional skills, and more. As well, I'd like to mention that Kensington Library is a polling place. We'll be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. for voting tomorrow, and libraries will be open from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. as libraries. So as one of your council members said earlier, if you have your kiddos at home, you need something to do, come to the library. We have activities, we have books, we have everything. I also put some flyers in the back, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Britt Bird from Brooklyn Borough President's Office.
Hi everyone, Britt Bird representing BP Reynoso. Just a few short announcements for this month. First, last month the BP hosted a deed theft prevention workshop at Medgar Evers College. Deed theft is when someone takes over the title of a home without the approval or knowledge of the true homeowner. Brooklyn homeowners have been hit hard by deed theft schemes, and this is especially true in predominantly black and brown neighborhoods. So you can reach out to our office if you want to share or get more information or that was shared at the workshop, or if you're interested in hosting another such workshop across Brooklyn. This workshop was organized in partnership with Brooklyn Legal Services and Grow Brooklyn. Next, the Borough President will be hosting a public hearing for the ULIP application that was reviewed by this community board last month, New York Community Hospital, the demapping of Avenue O. The public hearing will be on Wednesday, November 20th at 6 p.m. at Brooklyn Borough Hall. The Borough President will receive the recommendation voted on by this board, but if anyone else wants to testify either in person or in writing, you are welcome to at Borough Hall at 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 20th. And then finally, I do not have a specific date to give you for community board applications, but stay tuned. Once community board applications are open, I will be announcing it here every month, and we will send out the information. And just want to reiterate the earlier announcement that yes, a key step to making boards more representative is making sure that we get lots of applications to have a nice, broad, and representative pool of applicants to appoint to community boards. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So just a brief thing from District Manager Kim.
Yeah, this maybe should have been in my DM's report, but just following up on the community hospital application on Avenue O, I did want to point out as a follow-up that one of the things that came out of that hearing was a request for some parking restriction changes, and those have already been approved by DOT. And then the TCU, the trailer that was on the sidewalk just off that building, that has already been removed.
So thank you very much for that update. And so next up we have, I apologize if I mispronounced this, Salman Raymond from Brooklyn Emerge. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. This is the first time I'm in this meeting. I'm the CEO of Brooklyn Emerge. We are non-partisan and we are the 501c3. I wouldn't take much of your time, but our main flagship program is giving away foods. It's been 128,000 meals we have given to low-income immigrants till now. About the main thing we're doing with the Mayor's Office and NYC Small Business Services is giving away SBA loans without charging any, because since we are having a grant from SBS, we are helping small businesses who are struggling with licensing permits or legal consultation or business plans or cash flow statements or balance sheets or profit and loss. Basically, we're providing them 7A loans or interest-free loans or small grants from $5,000 to $15,000. With respect to that, if you know someone or if you know a small business owner who is suffering from financially or technically, we can help them assist in collaboration with the City of Small Business Services. With that, it's been 2 years I've been working with Brooklyn Emerge, and from 2025 we will be doing a collaboration with the Commission of Racial Justice Equity, Linda Tigani. We have done 5 community conversations and we have the data. Vaping is right now the most dangerous asset that has been used as in discrimination against the young children, and we are forming a policy within the Mayor's office. Not we, but we're suggesting them that all the parents have this common cause that vaping should be only bought who are under 21, because it contains some of the chemicals that triggers your mind and you get addicted to it. The children get addicted to it. It's too late for them and they couldn't stop it or stop using it. And the vaping starts, again, to Andrew. I had a nice talk with him. It goes onwards towards substance abuse, because the dopamine level in your mind, it gets addicted to it. It wants it. We crave for that dopamine level because if we don't get that, like coffee, we don't get that nicotine. So just like nicotine, 100 times by 100. So then it comes meth, then it comes heroin, then it comes. So stopping the vaping and forming a policy, as I spoke to Jumani Williams, we are having essential data, and we have already given policy endorsement in the FY25 budget review. So we hope that, we come up with a policy where parents are,
Mr. Raymond?
Yes?
I apologize, but that was the timer.
I'm just gonna take 2 seconds more.
No, just wrap it up.
Yeah, so as per the 21-year age factor, we're just collecting more data in order to form a policy that vaping can only be done by 21 years old. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So next up, we have Nancy Lulu.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I bring greetings with me on behalf of Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez. I just wanted to share a few things. The Brooklyn DA's office is actually offering an internship to high school's junior and senior students during the winter and spring. So it's 2 sessions when students are off of school. The winter session will be from February 18th to February 21st, and the spring session will be April 14 to April 18. You could visit our website at brooklynda.org to find out more requirements, and there are some flyers up front as well. I also urge you to visit the Brooklyn DA's website to learn more about our press releases and the work that the DA's office has been doing. And as always, I wanted to remind you with the Action Center's phone number. If there's anything, any public matter, public safety matter that you would like to address with the Brooklyn DA's office, you can call the Action Center at 718-250-2340. And I would like to conclude with thanking Community Board 14 for everything that you do. And I also want to say thank you to Mr. Roland, what's his last name? Glenn Rowland, and to Joanne Brown for their service, and we will miss them dearly. Thank you so much.
So next up, and if I have mispronounced your name, please correct me. Would it be Zin Ryu Lee?
Sinway.
Sinway?
Sinway.
Okay, Sinway Lee. Okay, thank you. Apologies for messing up.
No, you're fine. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sinray. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist at the New York City Independent Budget Office. So I just wanted to introduce myself. The purpose for hiring me is to try and direct our research to more community-oriented needs and what people are more interested in. Because currently, our analysts kind of pick up stuff based on the news cycle. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. So to introduce the Independent Budget Office, we are a city agency, but we provide nonpartisan data for council members and the community broadly. When I say nonpartisan, we are like an independent city agency. We don't report to the mayor's office or to any other elected officials. So our primary function is really to provide data and analysis for our communities. How we do that is through 3 charter mandated reports, which are published in alignment with the city's budget timeline. So we do our own independent forecasting of revenue and expenditure during the preliminary budget, the ones before the adopted budget. The November plan, anyway. So we historically have had more like tempered forecasts between like city council and the mayor's office. So hopefully that provides a little clarity on our accuracy. We also do year-round reports based on various subject matter. We have experts on education, housing and environment, economics, budget generally. We have people who look at data from DOT, DOC, and every other city agency you can imagine. And you guys are able to submit requests for data reports. The benefit of IBO is that we have easy access to a lot of city data that might be more difficult for the general community to access. And you are able to do that by just sending us an email. You feel free to come up and ask me for my email. Hopefully, we are currently changing over our IT, so you should be able to submit a form on our website soon enough. But just look us up on Google, it's easier, NYC Independent Budget Office. Yeah, we also do general trainings. Carl just actually attended today. City Budget 101 Basics. And yeah, I think that's everything. So check us out, sign up for our newsletter.
Thank you so much, Sandra. So next up, we have Lauren Collins.
Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Lauren Collins from the Church Flatbush Community Alliance. We are the nonprofit that helps businesses on a section of Church Avenue and Flatbush Avenue. So a few things really quick. We had a neighborhood beautification day on October 18th and 19th. We aerated the soil in a lot of the tree pits, which was just, it wasn't cement, but it was like cement, to try to make them absorb rainwater better and help the trees. We planted about 1,200 daffodil bulbs. So you'll see those in the spring. Kendall Washington on your board worked very hard that day. So thank you so much, and even kind of led a team and then helped the students. So we were able to get some of the side shows too, so hopefully you'll see that in the spring. And that was funded by Assembly Member Rodney's Bichot Hermelin and Councilmember Joseph. We have Thanksgiving Day, oh, that's the poster. Thanksgiving Day at King's Theater. We do a free luncheon. We've been doing it for, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years maybe, but not always at King's. This time it's actually going to be inside, so it's beautiful. Kids from the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism at Erasmus are cooking for like a week. So I have extra posters and postcards. If you have a community group, if you work in a school, I'll leave some for Sean as well. We would love to have, if you could just post these, that would be wonderful. And then on November 30th, which is Small Business Saturday, we're going to be giving out tote bags in the bid. They're really nice quality bags. And the following Saturday, December 7th, we have a Santa event. We're still trying to work out the details. But look at our Instagram. We'll be posting lots of information about that. And I don't know if I can talk about grand openings. You can tell me before the 3 minutes is up.
You got about 60 seconds.
I have 60 seconds. So there were two, because it's a business, but there are two grand openings with free stuff coming up. We're going to post on our Instagram. It's going to be the 16th. There is a Lego after-school program opening with free open play for kids on the 16th on Church Avenue, and on the 17th on Flatbush Avenue, a new dog grooming place that's going to have prizes all day long. So look at our Instagram. Also, last thing, we are looking for space. So if anyone does live near Church or Flatbush Avenues, we need to rent a 10-by-10 garage or an extra space in a parking lot to store extra sanitation equipment. We spend about $250,000 a year on sanitation in addition to what the city provides. So please help us. And we want to rent it, but we don't have a lot of money. So talk to me afterwards. Thank you.
All right, so first thing is, next thing I just want to acknowledge Pastor Awkward from Flatbush Reform. Thank you. And then next up we have Avraham Malachowski from Councilmember Farrah Lewis's office.
The council member staff are out before election night. Good for you.
And it's dark outside, so just... Good evening, everyone. My name is Avraham. I'm representing Councilmember Farrah Lewis. I'd like to begin by thanking both Glenn Wallen and former Chair Brown for everything that they've done for Community Board 14. It has been sincerely appreciated, and they will be very much missed. I would also like to hope that everybody had a happy and safe Halloween spent with friends and family. On October 19th, our office partnered with CUNY and other organizations to have a giant immigration clinic. We thank all our partners who assisted the constituents with all of their immigration needs. On October 26th, Councilmember Lewis, in collaboration with the chief of the Rapid Response Unit, hosted the inaugural Punch and Brunch. This event is part of the annual Take a Stand series aimed at raising awareness about domestic violence and fostering community engagement about this critical issue. This was done last month because last month was Domestic Violence Awareness Month. On November 15th, our office will be having a legal services. So if you have any questions, legal questions, you need assistance with anything legally related, please call our office and we can set up an appointment for you. Additionally, our office partnered with the Office of the Brooklyn Borough President and Con Edison to have representatives come out and assist homeowners and business owners with any Con Edison related issues that they had. We thank the Borough President and Con Edison and all of our other partners. Lastly, I'd like to remind everybody once again that participatory budgeting is back, which means there is $1 million in the council members' budget, which the community will decide how to spend. If anyone has any questions about how that works, has any ideas, please stop by and speak with me afterwards. As always, our office is located 1434 Flatbush Avenue. We're open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Our number is 718-629-2900. And I will be hanging around afterwards if anyone wants to say hi, and just wishing everybody a safe, enjoyable, and happy Thanksgiving. And don't get too down that it's dark outside like myself. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you so much, Thank you so much, Mark. And so, folks, this concludes the public comment period. And so, do I have a motion to adjourn? Wait, do we still have, wait,
Did you not sign up to speak?
did you not sign up to speak?
No, I thought we were voting.
Okay, got it. So motion seconded to adjourn? All right.
Second.
Excellent. And so this meeting concludes at 7:56. Thank you.